Blessed are we when the world is shaking. So, I have a word to share with all of y'all that happen to click on this video. My name is Elena Ayo. I'm a life design, a wellness strategist, all the strategies. I love to support organizations and individuals with creating the life that they desire. This journal right here is one of the ways. Relax and Remix. More info is inside of the description. You clicked on this video because I said you're blessed even though the world is shaking. So you need this word. So we're going to start off in the good book, okay? Turn to Matthew 5. Get your Bible. We're going to go to Matthew 5. So this is the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus is up there, okay? So now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on the mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him and he began to teach them. He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for it is the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Now, I'm excusing myself in advance. I don't have a tissue right here, and the weather. Anyways, I'm going to be looking at my notes because I have a message for you today. And it is very much in alignment with if you're watching this, no matter what in time, no matter when in time, you're watching it after the beginning of the 2026 Lunar New Year, which is also was the kickoff of Mardi Gras, which then rolled into Lent the next day. If you you practice Islam, you are Ramadan has begun for you. I'm inside of this liminal space. It's also an eclipse space. It's a little bit of everything in this space. We have the Saturn and Neptune conjunction that recently happened. And I'm a big believer that whenever we see Saturn coming in, that means that there's some structure that we need to have. Wherever Aries is in your chart, that's where you need some more structure, okay? And things are going to be revealed to you out of the mystery, out of the shadows. That Neptune, look at where Aries is in your chart, okay? Because we have a lot of planets moving into Aries. And yes, I'm talking about astrology and I'm talking about a word from the Bible, because Jesus is a teacher for all. And I'm here to give a message that is inclusive of all. So, my message for y'all today is about how we are blessed even when the world is shaking. So when we hear these words, the Beatitudes from Matthew 5, it's very much this rally cry. I myself am choosing to see Jesus as a wonderful archetype during these times in 2026. I'm living in the United States and I'm seeing a lot of mess. Okay, we had the files drop, we have people acting a fool all over the place, and I'm seeing the world starting to do this turn against America, who's been the moral police for so long. And I'm a really big believer that the things that we've been seeing playing out on the big stages have actually been playing out in many people's homes and families. And until we really get to the place where we're thinking about having safety paramount for women and children, we're going to be stuck in this loop. And so during this time when many things are changing and we're trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen next, or who should we become next, or where should we focus? Maybe that's a question for you. Let's think about Lent. So if you grew up in the Christian faith, you may be familiar with Lent. This is after Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, which you may have heard of before. That is a big celebration. It could be called Carnival if you live in the islands or you live in Brazil. And this 40-day period until we get to Easter, until we get Jesus rising again, is a beautiful example of what we could be doing. We could be fasting. We could be praying more, just like our Islamic brothers and sisters that are doing with Ramadan right now. We could be spending more time introspective, meditating with God, listening, focusing less on certain things and focusing more on the immaterial things, the things that really matter. If you've been feeling a thirst for righteousness, this is the video for you. And so, you know, last night I spent the night looking at a bunch of videos online. It was my first time in a week going into, what do we call those? A death scroll. We just, you could just going down an Instagram hole and doom scrolling. There we go. And I was like, you know what? The timing of this 40-day journey is quite impeccable, God, because I knew looking at those videos and sensing and feeling the shift that was happening inside of me that now is the time to step away from me. It might be for you too. I can look at a video that comes through, like it pops up as soon as I log on and maybe someone in my DM sends it to me, but doom scrolling? Oh no. No, no, no. I will not, because this is a time to really stay open to the messages that God has for me. And because I have a business, because I've connected with family and friends on Instagram, I personally am choosing not to completely abstain. I can't wait for the day that I can completely be off. But since I do have a business, I do come online from time to time. So for the most part, I'm going to be very selective on when I get on, trying to just focus it on 2 to 3 days a week, because really the DMs are like email. I don't need to check it every day. Well, I guess technically I check my email every day compared to my DMs, but you know what I'm saying. And I have noticed in this past week being off how much lighter I have felt, because I've been able to process and move through the emotions that I've been needing to move through, not constantly being triggered and triggered again and triggered again by the algorithm. And so instead of focusing on an algorithm, I'm focusing on alignment. And to get into alignment, I'm allowing myself to use this Lent season to get closer to God. And so, Lent, you could be like, I'm staying away from chocolate. I'm changing the way that I'm eating. I really want us to think about what it means to fast in real life, in your real life. What does it mean to give yourself a chance to break the spell? Maybe you need to stop saying disparaging things about yourself. Maybe you need 40 days of loving on yourself. You're naming off the things that you are grateful for every day. You're naming off why you trust yourself. Maybe you need to build your faith up. Maybe you need to spend these next 40 days journaling every day why you trust God. Even if you don't see what you desire to see, you're here. So let the world see you. Let the world see God through you. And not through this shell of fear, but through expansion, through vulnerability. We need realness. We need authenticity. Hollywood fading away. The practices and performance of performative religion falling away. The principalities, the politicians falling away. It is time for us to divest. The way that we're going to create our own parallel system is first inside of our own lives. Take action locally, inside of your soul, and then inside of your family, and then inside of your friend group, then inside of your community, inside of your commune of friends and family all around the world. But you first have to start with you, because are you a friend to you? Are you family to you yet? And so let us have our hearts and our minds and our thumbs on a break, moving out of anxiety and into alignment, moving into a season of openness and expansion. Because remember, whether you are taking a break from food, God said, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. That is Matthew 4:4. Spend more time in God's word. And so when Jesus kicked off his ministry and was sharing the Beatitudes, he said, blessed are the powerful. Nah, he didn't say that. He said, blessed are the ones with all the answers. Nah, he didn't say that. He said, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:3. That's you. Every time that you're feeling spiritually bankrupt by the things that you're hearing in the news, think about how Jesus talked about you thousands of years ago. And you being about that kingdom business, seeing yourself as part of the kingdom, that is the way you can embody that kingdom of heaven. It's not about, oh, we're prepping for heaven later. No, we bringing heaven down to earth because there's people around here doing whatever they want to do, telling us that we got to wait till we get to our heaven in the sky. No, we're bringing heaven down here. We're protecting people here. We're spreading love here. We're feeding people here. We're housing people here. Jesus also said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God. Matthew 5:9. So in a world full of online outrage, Jesus is calling out for us to be different people. Jesus is calling out for us to make peace, to speak the truth, to walk with love. Is there someone you need to call out in your family because they've been harming people? Is there someone you need to call out in your friend group because they've been up to no good? This is a season where there is no more illusion, and it is better to stay rooted in reality. That's what that Saturn energy is all. It's about reality. That's why it's so much about structure. It's not about la la land no more. All that Piscean energy that was keeping, nah. It's really about the here and the now. And it's really about you being real with yourself. Jesus also said, blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Matthew 5:10. So we gonna stand for what's right? We gonna stand for what's pure, right? Because the big thing last year was I'm standing on business. I'm still looking. I'm standing on business. I'm still trying to wait to hear it. There's musicians that need to be writing songs. There's someone who's watching this that needs to be making dresses. We need you in your business. If you are a part of a kingdom and you have dominion over the things that God has called you to do, then you shall be about your Father's business, right? Because that's where the reward is. That's how you'll find good company. That's how you'll be able to have conversations with Jesus and the prophets and the spirit guides that are there for you, the ancestors that are there for you. Let yourself be in their number. And so at a time like this, my question is, where do you stand? Who do you choose to be? This is not about fanaticism. This is not about, just choosing something because everyone else is doing it. This is about what God has guided you to do. In Micah 6:8, we get a blueprint. He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. So that's number one, act justly. So we're not going to ignore wickedness, but we're going to confront it. You may confront it up front if God calls you to do that. You might just confront it in prayer if that's what you're called to do. It's really about supporting what is truth, because that's what we need at this time. This is a time of justice. And the first justice comes through our minds, through our hearts, through our spirits. Where are we spending our energy? Where are we spending our time? Are we holding people accountable? Then love mercy. So this means we remember the victims, the survivors. These survivors are here. And so even when we are in the midst of feeling maybe overwhelmed because we realize we're a survivor as well, guard your heart. Don't become bitter and don't become hateful, because love and the light will always be brighter than darkness. You will be guided to do what you need to do when you lean into your reality. I have survived trauma, and I have survived like people taking advantage of me inside of organizations like churches. I am a cult survivor as well. And the thing that has been the hardest is this journey. There's a death that is happening. We live on a wave of time. I'll have a link to a video that goes deeper into this. And what we have to remind ourselves is, yeah, by saying what you're going to say, you're going to. I'm recording this the day after Rihanna's birthday, and I think it's by no chance because Rihanna is one of the people who came to my mind when God gave me this message about the wave of time and the currency that our energy and resources runs on. Rihanna told people about the abuse that she encountered, and in that moment, a version of her died and a new version of her was born. Look at her today. She's a mother. She's a billionaire. She's a mogul. She's created a cancer research hospital in her home of Barbados. She would not be the Rihanna she was today if she was not brave enough to be honest and to tell the world. In her case, that's what she was called to do. Maybe you just need to confront the person. Maybe you need to write a letter to yourself. Maybe you need to work with a therapist. Maybe you are at the point where you've worked with a therapist and you need to now move into action. That means you need a coach. I'm a coach. When you allow yourself to die in that moment, the ego dies, the stories die, the emotions you've been dragging around. This ain't the energy for kicking and screaming. Everybody already knows that 2026 is the Chinese fire horse year in Chinese astrology. Everybody been talking about it like they Chinese. I'm a researcher. I'm not an astrologer. But what I have seen and what I have chosen to take on for myself is that there is enough power and energy inside of this year that I can move with more ease. I can be more selective, and I know that God's grace will come to pass. That's why I'm doing these videos now. I don't have anything to be afraid of. There's people doing much bigger, scary things out there that are harming people. So why am I afraid of doing what's going to be good for people? What medicine do you have inside of you that we all need? And as you leverage that medicine, this is that last step inside of Micah 6 and 8. Walk humbly. So admit, I don't have all the answers. I don't know who you are. But that's why I made this journal. I made this journal, Relax and Remix, because I myself had to figure out, okay, what's my baseline? What am I doing? How am I using my time? How am I using my energy? And then I was able to start experimenting and trying out new things, trying on the new identity. That's what this journal helps you do. It helps you see who you are now and helps you map out day by day by day by weekly reflection, using design thinking, agile, mindfulness, some great neuroscience to help you really soak in what you choose for yourself, not what you were programmed in your family, in the church, in the school, none of that. Because it's now time for you to decolonize your faith. And that's what I do with a lot of my clients. Majority of the people who work with me because they see I'm not ashamed to talk about my faith. And they see me walk in my faith. And they've seen what it's created in my life. And they're like, I want that too. I've been able to have a prosperous career in tech for the past 10 years. I went from UX designer to having my own design strategy team in less than a decade with 3 senior design strategists that I was managing. How was that possible? Because I'm possible and because God is possible and God's work works through me because faith without works is dead. So I know God has given you a vision. I know God has given you a mission. And my invitation to you right now is number 1, take this time of Lent to fast. Allow yourself to figure out what is your noise. What is clouding your judgment, your mind? What is having you feel frantic inside? Take a step away. Step into real community. Go outside, be with people, whether you're coloring or taking a walk, do something with other people. For me, no more late night doom scrolling. No. For you, maybe it's you do take the social media break. Maybe there is you don't eat until after sundown like they do with Ramadan. We're not that different. And when we realize how alike we are, we shall see that the answers were already given to us by our ancestors. Jesus ain't nothing but an ancestor. Jesus ain't nothing but a man from the Middle East that was crucified as this rebel that was against Rome and then was used by Rome to control other people, the Crusades and all that. Think about it. Think really critically. Jesus said, we don't need all of these extra things when he was flipping them tables. What are all these extra things that are not in alignment with God that's in your life? I would love to have you join me in my Patreon. That's my second invitation. So down inside of this description, you'll see a link to the constellation. The constellation is a learning community. I'm going to be sharing a report on the Fire Horse year. My premium members will be able to have access for that included, or you can purchase that. It takes time to do research, y'all. So your girls got to make resources somehow, some way. But once you become a member, even if you start off for free, you will see plenty of free resources inside of the constellation. If you're interested in working with me at a sustainable level, you should sign up for the $40 a month level because you can get a call with me. We can work together on your own strategy for this year. What does it mean for you to have more rest, more ease, meaningful connection, and especially an understanding of yourself? And if you are not in a place to work with me or you're not interested at this time, but you want to take some steps forward, get that Relax and Remix journal that you see right there. Get my journal. It is the best $25 you're going to spend this whole year because it is going to become that book of you once you finish all of the prompts and you allow yourself to go on a 4-week journey from feeling stuck to feeling aligned. And so as we leave out, I have a question for you, and you can leave it here in the comments if you like for us to touch and agree with you. If you like for us to pray for anything for you, please put it inside of the comments. This is for you. So with this 40-day fasting and reflection season of Lent, what is one noise or distraction that you feel God is inviting you to fast from during these weeks so that you can hear more from God clearly? What are you fasting from? And then connect to your why you're fasting. I am fasting from doom scrolling for my mental health. So every time that I slip up or I find myself easing into it or I have an itch, I'm just going to say, Elena, your mental health. And then I'm probably going to dance. I'm probably going to sing. I might make some food. I'm going to do something that I enjoy. Maybe crack open the Bible. Maybe crack open the Nag Hammadi. I'm going to study scripture. Allow this to be a time where you rise. We recently lost the great Jesse Jackson, and I felt this ache in my heart like Jesse did not get to see us free in the way I would have wanted Jesse to see us free. And at the same time, I'm just so proud of everything Jesse has done. He ran for president twice. He created the Rainbow Coalition, the Push Coalition. He was right there beside Dr. King. Because of Jesse running for president, there were thousands of people that registered to become voters. And that year, the Senate swung because of the impact of just taking the action. It's not about winning. It's about being present in what God has already gifted you as your present. So really think about this. I'm sending you so much love. Be well and love yourself. I'll see you next time.